From the hollers and hills of West Virginia, it's Heavenly Hills Homestead with another episode. Stay tuned. Boom! Okay guys, just going through these pea bushes here. I cut them all off a fence line over there. Brought them over here and now we're just picking them off. Oops, let me get that one here in a second. Picking them off, putting them in the box, gonna take them inside, finish drying them out. Some of them are still pretty green. You can see in the box there. And get them ready to plant next month. So that is what we're doing right now. We're harvesting peas today. Did a little bit of other work around the yard, so might take you around and show that in a minute if I get a chance. All right, guys. So had a request to do a video on rhubarb, and so we shall do a video on rhubarb. Did a couple small little ones in the past, just talking about it a little bit and the difficulties of being able to get in touch, you know, to buy it or get a hold of it, and its rarity. You can find specific kinds like rhubarb, I can't remember the name of it. Basically, it's something rhubarb, but it's not an actual rhubarb. It is a Swiss chard of type. I'm growing one of those types of supposed rhubarb, okay? And it's not rhubarb, it's a Swiss chard, it's the Vulcan. They consider it a rhubarb of sorts, but it's not a true rhubarb. So anyhow, we're gonna start out here with some of the young ones that I have. If you're looking for rhubarb, I have a limited number of seeds available. I'll have to tell you, a little bit later, I might have some more seeds available next year, but will be a limited quantity, because once you let a rhubarb go to seed, that is it for that plant. It will not come back. Now, as long as you are picking the seeds off, the rhubarb plant will continue to grow every year and just continue to get bigger and bigger until you have to literally go in and split the rhubarb in half, sometimes even in quarters, and replant them, okay, because they can get that big. They can grow multiple years, but if you let it go to seed, that is it. They will not grow the following year. Once it goes to seed, that's it. So yes, you can buy some and you can let them go to seed, but you're not going to have a plant after that. And the object of the game with these are to have rhubarb on hand every year. So we're going to kind of dive into it. You can see here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the larger plants. These were potted up earlier in the year. and they're doing quite well for being in these little old 4-inch pots. They are not going to get huge in these 4-inch pots, I can tell you that now. We will take them and transplant these today because I've been meaning to do it for a while now. Then you see here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Oh, goodness. 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. 49 left in these little ones. I had more than that, and I transplanted some of them. Some of them died off because once these got going and stuff, and nobody was buying the rest of them, I just kind of let them sit here, to be honest with you, and that was kind of a waste and pretty stupid. I gave some to my dad and some other people, sold some of them, and the rest of them just sat here in these little containers. They do not grow well in containers, guys. I'm just be honest with you. They grow pretty poorly in a confined space. So if you want a good one, you're going to have a pretty good sized raised bed, or a large area, or like a wash tub, like over there, that wash tub there by the well. That would be something you could use like that. Set it in the center of it, and it would do pretty good in there. But it couldn't have anything else in there with it. Okay, so that is what we have right now. You can tell the ones that have really been mistreated. This one down here and that one over there. They have been really mistreated. Now, I had a 100% germination rate out of my seeds. That was really good. I mean, I had really, really good rates with that. If you're wanting to buy seeds are 5 seeds for $10, okay, plus $5 shipping. And the plants, I've been selling the plants for $15 a piece. Plants are going from anywhere between, young starts like these are going anywhere between $25 and $45 for some of these bigger ones. All right, that's for a first year plant. You go to a second year plant, you're looking at $50, upwards of $100 for a second year plant. And sometimes more in some cases. And then a 2-year-old plant is like $200 and up. All right. So true rhubarbs are not cheap. So if you think that, if you find them at a nursery and you think, wow, that's really expensive for one plant, the fact of the matter is, it could be, but more than likely, a lot of these guys, if they're charging $20 to $25 for the plant, they're actually charging a fair price, considering some of them people are charging upwards of $35 and $45 for a first year plant. So there's that. Secondly, you can't find the seeds anywhere. I looked online during this past winter, early spring, trying to, when I was shooting those first videos of me planting and the rhubarb and selling the rhubarb, and you just couldn't find it. You couldn't find it. You couldn't find them online anywhere. And then if you did find what they said was rhubarb, you go on to read, and it not being true rhubarb. So there was that. So good luck on finding it. Seeds for it if you can. You just can't find it hardly. Do people have them? Yes, but the people that have them rarely sell the seeds. They keep the seeds and plant them and turn them into plants and sell the plants for more. And stuff. And most people don't let them go to seed. That's another reason why you can't find seeds, because most people don't let their plants go to seed, because again, it goes to seed, that's it. It won't come back anymore. The plant's done. So there's the reason why you can't find seeds. So I do have seeds. I have a very limited amount. If you're looking for any, I can hook you up, so just let me know and we can get that done for you. But let's talk about, the origins of rhubarb and how rhubarb came about and everything. Kind of go over that real quick, and then we'll get on with the next. Okay, so many people consider rhubarb a fruit due to the dominance of rhubarb in dessert recipes, and it is used extensively in dessert recipes. Rhubarb strawberry jam, rhubarb strawberry pie, rhubarb pie, etc., etc. Botanists and horticulturalists do not agree on the taxonomy of the species. It is considered a dessert vegetable. More surprisingly, rhubarb's role was medicinal rather than culinary throughout the majority of its period of use. Intended widespread culinary uses began only about 2 centuries ago, whereas medicinal uses go back 5,000 years ago. The word rhubarb is of Latin origin. The ancient Romans imported rhubarb roots from unknown barbarian lands. The lands were beyond the Vogue River, sometimes known as the Rha River. Rha was first adopted to mean rhubarb, imported from barbarian across the Rha. The plant became Rhabarbarium, and eventually Rhabarbar. Hang on a minute. Oh, boy, Rhabarbarium. Boy, that's hard to say. Anyways, Latin for rhubarb plant. The more modern English word, rhubarb, derives from the Rhabarbarum. All right, so rhubarb's medicinal uses began 5,000 years ago to when Chinese used to dry the roots out as a laxative. Wow. Yeah, no thank you. The first documented uses in Western civilization was about 2,100 years ago, when rhubarb roots were an ingredient in numerous Greek and Roman medicines. Dried rhubarb roots also are astringent. This is common in a lot of things, like these same practices were used. A lot of these were used with dandelion, and so you kind of got to wonder, what were these people eating that they needed so much laxative? Because I'm going to tell you where rhubarb came from in America, but the dandelion was not always here in America either, and it was astringent, and it was also used for a laxative in some cases. So it makes you wonder what these ancient people were eating that they needed so much laxatives, or lack thereof eating and needed the laxative. So anyhow, the astringent effects closely follow the Carthiac impact, which made rhubarb roots a popular laxative in days of old. Though uncommon, dried rhubarb is still sold as a laxative. Therefore, it is noteworthy that the medical efficacy of rhubarb roots varies significantly by variety. The original Chinese variety remaining the most efficient, while some varieties have no laxative value whatsoever. Let me see. Unfortunately, rhubarb hybridizes easily, and there are no standard for names of varieties or cultivars. That's weird. Hybridizes easy. That's pretty neat, though. Wonder if it hybridizes per location. Like if I grow it here in this microclimate, would it be different than, say, up north in West Virginia? Anyhow. This makes it very difficult to know the pedigree of any particular plant. Just calling it Chinese does not mean it is the same as the early strains. In May, we began to see bright red rhubarb stalks appear on our plants and in the markets. Rhubarb is an old plant reportedly used around 2700 BC as a drug to purge the intestinal tract. We've already talked about that. It was eventually brought to Britain, perhaps by Marco Polo, where attempts were made to grow the plant to produce the medicinal drug with little success. It was not in favor for a number of years. Ben Franklin brought the plant to America. That's interesting. It had been eaten as a vegetable side dish, and after the development of sugar from sugarcane in the 1600s, rhubarb became popular as a dessert food. So that's interesting. In 1600s, that's when it started to change from medicinal to something to eat, something sweet, right? Let me see here. In 1837, Queen Victoria assumed the throne in England, and a new variety of rhubarb was introduced. It was reliable, sweeter, more tender, and easy to grow. It began to grow in popularity. Victoria rhubarb is still available today. Rhubarb is technically a vegetable, but in 1940s, American growers gained the right to have it classified as a fruit. The classification enabled them to market the product in a more profitable way. It is still classified as a fruit. That's very interesting as well. It is a perennial. Now, I say that with all caution. They forgot to leave out that if you let it go to seed, it will no longer grow. So yes, it is a perennial as long as you pick the seed heads off. You let them seed heads stay on here, it is no longer a perennial and it will not grow. Anyhow, it's a perennial that must have temperatures below 40 degrees in the wintertime to achieve dormancy that's needed to grow. It does not like hot, dry climates and arises in the cool early spring. It continues to be harvested as long as the days remain relatively mild. It prefers full sun, good heat, fertile, well-drained soil. So you don't want to have it in hot, dry climates, but full sun with heat and fertile, well-drained soil is what they like. And you can see that over here on the other side of the building where we're going to plant these, and I'm going to show you just exactly what they're talking about here. So anyhow, since it is a perennial, plant it where it will not interfere with annual tilling. Rhubarb will produce seed, but it is difficult to grow from seed, so gardeners generally plant a start or a division from an existing clump. I found that to be a lie. And you can go back to my videos from this past year in the springtime, and you'll see I had 99% germination rate. Now, after the germination, is it a little tougher? I mean, I guess it is. I mean, you can see what's left in these trays here. I believe it was from lack of interest in them. I just kind of forgot them and left them, just like these tomatoes that's here, just like the okras is here and everything else. Just kind of forgot about them, just left them to their own devices. Many users prefer the bright red stalks, but rhubarb can also be pink, pink flecked, or essentially a light green. The large leaves are poisonous. Yes, they're poisonous and should not be eaten. The leaves contain a potentially lethal concentration of oxalic acid and anthraquinone. I don't know how to pronounce that. anthraquinone. So that's what it produces. Those two things. And then it says, if you plant a start, let it grow for about a year before you eat any of the stalks. Rhubarb has a somewhat tart taste, mouth puckering due to the presence of non-lethal concentration of oxalic acid in the stalks. The tardiness is the reason sugar is used freely in most rhubarb dishes. To harvest from your own plant, grasp the lower end of the stalk and twist slightly while pulling. Even if you purchase stalks in the market, be sure the leaf is trimmed off before chopping and using in any of your recipes. Rhubarb has a distinctive taste and supplies a number of vitamins, especially C and K. In some non-citrus areas, it is canned and used as a breakfast food. If you haven't tried rhubarb pie or jam, this might be the year for you. So let's get on over here, plant these other ones, talk a little bit more about it. Hey guys, no, it's getting a little dark. You probably won't be able to see as well as what I'd like you to be able to. There we go. But we got this all tilled up. Here's one of my bigger rhubarb plants right here. It's my biggest one. It's actually my best one. Planted this last fall, and first one to come up, and it did really good. And then I don't know what happened to it, but it gets a little funky like sometimes. And then I got a goji berry tree right there, and then the next one up is another rhubarb, and it died completely back and was nothing left, and then it come back. So all in 1 year, all in this summer. Came out this spring, died all the way back. I thought some kind of bugs or something got it, and I just kept watering and doing, taking care of it like it was there, and it did come back, and that's as big as it's gotten so far. So I don't know what's going on with that. I am going to be adding a wheelbarrow full of dirt in here to this. It is better than what I have down in the pumpkin patch and over in the garden. It is a little bit more loamy like. But we're going to add a little bit of the compost. What we have, one wheelbarrow left of compost, we're going to put that in here. And then I'm going to be planting strawberries back here. So this will be our third strawberry patch. I tilled it all the way back there to the end of the greenhouse. Been wanting to do this for a while, and we finally got it done. So thank you for asking about this video. It got me and my butt in gear so that I could do this. Anyhow, yeah. So there the bigger rhubarbs are. And like I said, these are 2-year-old now, well, or a year old now, I guess you would say, starting on their second year, and they're doing really good. So we're going to plant these rhubarb in here. There's 5 plants. Then we'll plant all the strawberries, and I would say 7 plants is more than enough for us. I'll take a look and see. I might plant another 2 or 3 more in here just to make it, a little, maybe 10 plants or something in here. But we'll see what we got left, because I'm going to use some of this room against the fence to plant some tomato plants on that I've been wanting to get in the ground for a while. So anyhow, I'm going to get this done, and if there's any daylight left, we'll show you what it looks like. Right, guys, so we've got it all planted all the way up through there. You can see this stuff is definitely planted all the way up through there. We now have a total of 7 rhubarb plants and an unknown amount of strawberry. These are the Alexandria strawberries. So we have 4 varieties of strawberries growing here on the property now. Hopefully they'll grow in abundance. Some of these are supposed to set fruit again a second, or 2 times a year. So hopefully we'll have a second harvest of strawberries this fall. Starting to look like we may not. Some of that's due to my own fault of just not having time to plant everything and do everything. So but next year they're here, they're ready to go. We'll be able to plant them again. Like I said, these are the Alexandrias. On the other side of the greenhouse, those are the wonderful wild strawberries. I do not know the type that we picked earlier in the year. Those just came from the neighbor, and they grow quite well. And then we have a 4th one up in the giant growing raised bed, and that I do not know what it is either. All I know is that I found it in the garden, long away from any strawberries. So obviously it's something we've thrown out to the chickens, and they've pooped it out and it grew. So that's just what it is. So I don't know what kind it is, but there's 2 plants up there of that, and they are trying to establish themselves right now. So that's a good thing. So anyhow, in my opinion, you never can have too many strawberries. There's so much you can do with them. They taste good. They're wonderful fruit. They grow really good. And they don't have, in my opinion, and what all I've seen, they don't take a lot of management, a lot of work. So that could be different for everybody else, but for me, I've not had to really work too hard to get them to grow. feed them a little bit, water them here and there, and they do quite well. So that's all we have for today. I hope that it was a decent video for everybody and that you've learned something about our wonderful rhubarb plants. And if you don't have any, I encourage you to buy some and grow them, because they are a good source to have around the homestead. And to me, they seem like pretty easy grow and not a lot of maintenance. So, and again, that's me. You know, you might read different and you might hear different from other people, but it seems like it goes pretty good. We did take our shade cloth down today. It's an overcast day, good day to do it, cool day. It's supposed to be overcast tomorrow, so plants shouldn't be getting burnt up. You can definitely tell the ones that are growing out from underneath a shade cloth versus growing under the shade cloth. Shade cloth plants are a little bit smaller. They're not quite as big until they get out from underneath it. When they get out from underneath that shade cloth, they really ramp up the size. So it's a good thing to have. It helps in many ways, protect the plant from hail and the sun, but it has its drawbacks as well. And later on in the year, it hampers it. Need more daylight to it and stronger daylight for the plants to get as much as they can to have the power to grow, and you know, holds back moisture, which is a good thing during the early part of the season, bad thing for late part of the season because you can get rot and all kinds of different things, powdery mildew and stuff. So we removed them because of that. Last year I didn't remove them till after, I think it was like the 26th of August when I removed them, and this year we removed them almost a month and a half early. So well, not almost, but close to a month and a half early. So anyhow, guys, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you tomorrow right here in the hollers and hills of West Virginia.
Don't forget to smash that like button, that notification bell. Don't get the
Good job. Here you go. Thank you.
Don't get the
Don't forget to share. Yep. There you go. Good job. And subscribe.
subscribe.